This is Axel 72 in association with Squared Circle Boxing. Pleasure to be joined by Adam Morallee today. Adam, how are we, man?
Very good, thank you. Good to be in Birmingham.
Indeed it is, and we're here for the weigh-in for the Magnificent 7 card, and everybody's on weight from what it seems. And do you feel like it's been a good day and it's going to be a good evening tomorrow night?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Joe's making his comeback in Birmingham on a great card, great Queensbury card, and yeah, he's raring to go.
For Joe, do you feel like you've possibly seen, since the Zhang fight, maybe a more motivated or a more energised Joe coming into this fight?
Yeah, look, Joe's always motivated. He's an elite athlete, and he was motivated very strongly for the Zhang fight. The fact he lost was no reflection on his motivation. I think second time round, Zhang really had his number. I think first time round, Joe would have won that fight had it gone the distance. But yeah, he remains motivated. You know, he realises he's got not that long left in his career, 2-3 years maybe, and he's really got to knuckle down now. So yeah, Joe's in a great place.
And when you talk about a comeback, it normally means, you know, you win this one, then there's big things next. And do you feel like if he goes and gets an impressive stoppage here, it's going to propel him straight back into that top level contention?
Yeah, absolutely. Joyce is a household name in heavyweight boxing, and that carries enormous value. You've seen that with Francis Ngannou, who's a household name in MMA, but he's getting massive fights. He's got no pedigree in boxing. He's 0-2. He's ranked 238 on BoxRec, and he's getting those. So I think sometimes you have to realise there's like an athletic credibility part to this, and then there's a well-known part to this. And when you say Joe Joyce, everyone in boxing knows who he is, and that's why Joe will always land big fights.
Indeed, and you know, do you feel like this heavyweight scene at the moment is the most, you know, entertaining scene currently? Yeah,
it's tremendously entertaining. I mean, look, to generate that money for AJ Ngannou Fury, and then we've got the biggest fight in however many years coming up on May 18th. Fury Usyk, which is tremendous. Yeah, so the heavyweight division's in a brilliant place, but I do think we're coming towards the end of an era. Fury, Joshua, Usyk, Joe Joyce, Chisora, White, they're all coming out, and the new ones are going to be coming back in.
Is there any kind of names that you're looking at in the heavyweight division as these kind of new names to be coming in?
Yeah, I mean, probably 3 guys that I manage: Guido Vianello, Solomon Dakers, and Johnny Fisher. I mean, they're heading it up. You've also got to talk about Daniel Dubois, Moses Atuma. They're the names that are really coming in now, and I think those guys are gonna. I mean, Fabio Wardley, Fraser Clark. Those guys are going to push the division forward. Jared Anderson. Yeah, they're the guys.
It's definitely going to be a very entertaining next couple of years. And, you know, just to speak about Johnny Fisher as a fighter, you know, he's always somebody who sells a lot of tickets and brings a lot of energy to fight week. And as a brand and as a manager yourself, is it nice to, you know, have a fighter who promotes himself to an extent?
Johnny Fisher's a phenomenon, right? He's a phenomenon. He doesn't have the athletic credibility and amateur background of a Guido Vianello or a Solomon Dakers. But he said, I think only really Nathan Heaney is approaching what Johnny sells. Sold 3,000-4,000 tickets for a show at Ali Pali. He promotes himself. Big John's an amazing help for Johnny, but puts Johnny first. And yeah, it's a blessing to have someone like Johnny Fisher.
And of course, Solomon, who's meant to be on this card, he's got, you know, that big fight with David Adelaide probably coming up next. And do you feel like that fight, well, I suppose, is going to happen next?
Yeah, I really hope it happens April 20th. I think it's a great fight for Sol, and Sol should get the winner of Wardley Clark.
And you know, when you speak about the heavyweight division at the moment, it seems like with more and more fighters coming through, the fans are having more and more to say about each type of fighter. And how do you feel like fighters' best ways to deal with, you know, online hate and things like that?
Look, everyone's always going to have an opinion on whatever you do, right? And I think the worst thing that I say to the fighters, the absolute worst thing that could ever happen to them is no one talks about them. Because if no one talks about them, no one's going to watch you, and you have no career. So, you know, hate is just another opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. They should embrace it, enjoy it, and be glad they're being spoken about.
Most definitely. And I want to speak about another one of your fighters, Florian Marku. He's got a big fight with Chris Kongo coming up in a couple of weeks. And do you feel like this fight is a necessary type crossroads type fight?
Yeah, I do. I think it's a big fight for Florian. I mean, he's Dylan Miranda's last fight, good amateur record, good boxer. But I think the public know who Kongo is, and they appreciate his boxing skills. And I think Florian's got to show that he's got those skills himself.
And with him, he also, you know, brings a big following, a big Albanian following. And is it somewhere where you wanted to go back to Albania to, you know, have more big fights with him?
Yeah, I think so. Probably not straight away, but yeah, let's let's get those fights in this country. Let's get those fights maybe in America. And we almost got the Josh Taylor fight, which would have been a fantastic breakthrough fight for Florian. That's what we're really edging towards, and push him into a star and then go back to Albania.
Do you feel like he is just, on the brink of that world level?
He's on the brink, yeah. He's on the brink, and he needs 2 or 3 really good wins. If he can get 2 or 3, Chris Kongo British level win, then someone kind of European level, then fringe world level, then Florian Marku's really in the mix.
Of course, and that main event for that card, Wardley Clark, as a fight, amazing fight. What do you feel like how do you think it's going to go down?
Yeah, look, I know both guys quite well. I've watched them both spar. I think Fabio Wardley steps it up from the gym. That's what I'd say. I've watched him spar some of my guys, and I think he's a different level in the ring. And I think Fraser, a lot of people sleeping on him and not appreciating his pedigree. So, very tight fight. Very, very good fight. Real 50-50 for me.
Is it nice to, have a fight like that, which is a big level kind of British fight, actually happening in Britain and not having to, be over in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, look, I think Saudi's done a lot for boxing, for British boxing, in terms of giving those fighters the purses they need. But it also creates in the UK a vacuum, and you want that vacuum to be filled. So Wardley Clark, it's going to be the biggest heavyweight fight in Britain this year so far, which is crazy, right?
Indeed, and I wanted to also speak about Lerrone Spider Richards. Got another fight announced, and his career has been a bit stop-starty and not always been as fluent as I'm sure as a manager you would have wanted it. But is it nice to see him getting on that right track again then?
Yeah, shout out to Wasserman. I mean, Lerrone's been with pretty much every promoter. He's a world-level fighter. He's won the IBO super middleweight. He beat Gongora, who everyone avoided. I think Lerrone is. I don't understand how people will beat Lerrone. I think he's so skilled. And yeah, shout out to Nissa Sauerland, Channel 5, Wasserman for what they've done with Lerrone. He's headlining April 12th, and I think he's going to go on to bigger and better things. And he's the best super middleweight in England by a mile.
Of course. And do you feel like he is deserving at this point in his career to be fighting at a world level, and he's just maybe been holded back a little bit?
Yeah, look, some things happened last couple of years which weren't great, but Lerrone is in the Who Wants Him club. No one wants to voluntarily defend against Lerrone Richards. So he's going to have to get in self-ranked, going to get in mandatory positions and get a title that way. It's going to be a bit of a journey for us, but one that should take 12 to 18 months.
And to ask a couple of questions about yourself personally, when you are having fighters wanting management from you and things like that, what kind of characteristics are you looking for in them?
Well, at the moment, we're not looking for any more new fighters, but you want someone who's got a good athletic credibility, won stuff as an amateur, good personality, but over and above it all, we're looking for dedication. We as a team at SJAM are so dedicated, and we want to see that from our boxers. That's really number one for me. You can be supremely talented. If you're not going to put in the dedication, not going to match the hard work we put in, then it's tough to work for someone like that. And
one final question, just for yourself, and what is your favourite part of boxing?
Favourite part of boxing? Well, the best thing about managing fighters is watching them develop, generally, and taking them from the beginning and seeing where they end up. That's the joy of it. That's the best thing, adding value to someone else's life and career and using your skills to make them get the most out of themselves.
Brilliant. Adam, thank you very much, man.
Thank you.